The silent deception. The massive crystalline spires of the Galactic Confederation's observation post on Europa gleamed in the dim sunlight, their sensors continually scanning Earth's activities. High Observer Kextol stood before the holographic display, his iridescent scales shifting colors as he processed the latest reports. The humans, these primitive beings who had barely mastered basic space travel, continued their seemingly chaotic development exactly as predicted. Another failed attempt at producing stable antimatter containment, his assistant, Verix, reported with barely concealed amusement. Their research facility in Geneva just experienced its third collapse this cycle. Kextol's membrane-covered eyes blinked in sequence. Added to the assessment report, the Council needs to understand just how far behind these creatures are. He paused, watching as another primitive chemical rocket launched from Kazakhstan, its trajectory wobbling slightly. Perhaps we should recommend immediate intervention rather than waiting for them to destroy themselves. What the observers failed to notice was that deep beneath the Geneva facility, in chambers shielded by technology far beyond what humanity was supposed to possess, Dr. Sarah Chen reviewed the latest successful antimatter containment test results. The failed experiment above had been yet another carefully orchestrated performance in a deception spanning decades. Status report. She spoke into a quantum-encrypted communicator that the Confederation's sensors registered as nothing more than background radiation. Operation Masquerade proceeding as planned, replied Admiral Marcus Rodriguez from his office in the Pentagon. The Confederation continues to buy our act. Their latest intelligence assessment still classifies us as a Level 2 civilization, barely capable of basic solar system travel. Sarah allowed herself a small smile as she watched the antimatter reactor powering their entire facility hum quietly in its perfect containment field. And the Jupiter defense grid, completely invisible to their scans. As far as they're concerned, those are just inactive volcanic vents on Io. The thermal masking is working perfectly. Marcus paused before adding, though I'm still concerned about the timeline. Intelligence suggests that planning to move sooner than we anticipated. Sarek pulled up a holographic display showing the status of Project Phoenix, humanity's true fleet hidden in plain sight. What appeared to be civilian cargo ships, space hotels, and mining platforms could transform into state-of-the-art warships at a moment's notice. 20 years of careful planning are showing the galaxy exactly what they expected to see while building something entirely different in secret. Let them come sooner, Sarah replied, her voice steady. We've been ready for the past 5 years. Every day we wait only makes us stronger. In high orbit, what the Confederation believed to be a primitive communications satellite adjusted its position slightly. Inside its supposedly simple frame, quantum computers processed vast amounts of data, coordinating with thousands of other satellites in a defense network that spanned the solar system. Back on Europa, Kextol made his decision. Prepare the report for the Council. Recommend immediate intervention and stewardship of humanity before they become a danger to themselves and others. Their pointless conflicts, their wasteful experiments, their primitive understanding of physics, they clearly need our guidance. Verlix began composing the report, adding details about Earth's supposedly crude attempts at faster-than-light travel, their reliance on chemical rockets, and their constant political squabbles. Should I include the latest failed fusion experiment in China? Yes, absolutely. The Council needs to understand just how far behind they are. Kextol's scales shifted to a confident purple. These humans should be grateful. We're saving them from centuries of stumbling in the dark. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, in a facility that officially didn't exist, General Diana Wright reviewed the latest intelligence from their quantum observers scattered throughout the galaxy. The Confederation's arrogance had made them predictable, their technology sophisticated but stagnant. They hadn't faced a real challenge in 10,000 years, and it showed in their tactics and assumptions. They're going to recommend immediate intervention, her AI assistant concluded, processing the intercepted communications from Europa. Probability 94.3%. Diana nodded, sending a coded message to every hidden military installation in the solar system. Then it's time for Phase 2. Alert all commands. Operation Sleeping Giant is now active. As the message spread through quantum channels invisible to Confederation technology, humanity's greatest deception entered its final stage. In labs, bases, and ships throughout the solar system, men and women who had trained for this moment their entire careers began final preparations. Their primitive facade was about to crack, revealing something that would shake the galaxy to its foundations. On the surface, Earth continued its carefully choreographed dance of incompetence and chaos. Politicians bickered over pointless issues, scientists announced minor setbacks in public research, and the media focused on trivial matters. Below the surface, humanity held its breath, waiting for the moment to show the galaxy exactly how dangerous underestimating humans could be. The game was about to change, and the Confederation had no idea they were playing exactly into humanity's hands. Breaking the chains, the Confederation flagship Eternal Dawn emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the solar system, leading a fleet of 300 vessels. Supreme Commander Zarkax stood on the bridge, his crystalline exoskeleton reflecting the light of distant stars. The tactical display showed Earth's primitive defensive satellites, a scattered collection of what appeared to be barely functional weapons platforms. Final status report, he commanded, his translator converting the harmonics of his native tongue into the common galactic standard. All ships in position, Commander. Earth's military forces remain uncoordinated. Their planetary defense grid appears to be operating at minimal capacity. The tactical officer's report was crisp, confident. Their most advanced weapons still rely on nuclear fission. Our shields can withstand their entire arsenal. Zarkax activated the fleet-wide communications system. Commence Operation Guardian, standard subjugation protocol. The first wave of Confederation ships moved forward, their weapons charged but powered down to minimal levels, a show of force meant to intimidate rather than destroy. Their sensors showed exactly what humanity wanted them to see: panic, confusion, and fear spreading across Earth's governments. Deep beneath the Antarctic ice, in humanity's true command center, General Diana Wright watched the Confederation fleet's approach on quantum-linked displays. Every movement, every communication, every energy signature was being analyzed in real time by AI systems far more advanced than anything the Confederation had encountered. They're following the exact attack pattern predicted by the simulations, her executive officer noted. Arrogant bastards haven't updated their tactics in millennia. Diana allowed herself a small smile. Initiate Phantom Protocol. Let's show them our panic. Across Earth's orbit, seemingly primitive satellites began breaking apart, their debris creating a chaotic pattern that the Confederation interpreted as system failures. Hidden beneath this cloud of apparent destruction, thousands of quantum-linked nanodrones moved into position, completely invisible to Confederation sensors. On the Eternal Dawn, Zarkax received the first transmission from Earth's governments. The message was exactly what he expected: confused, frightened leaders begging for time to consider their demands. Some nations threatened nuclear retaliation, while others called for immediate surrender. Pathetic, he muttered. Send the final warning. They have one planetary rotation to submit to our authority, or we demonstrate our power on one of their military installations. What the Supreme Commander didn't notice was that his ship's quantum signature was being perfectly mapped by technology that, according to his intelligence, humanity wouldn't develop for another 1,000 years. Every weapon system, every shield frequency, every potential weakness was being catalogued and analyzed. In her private lab in Geneva, Dr. Sarah Chen made the final adjustments to the quantum field manipulator, a device that the Confederation believed was centuries beyond human capability. Phase 1 quantum mapping complete, she reported through the secure channel. Their shield technology hasn't changed since our first observations. The weaknesses are exactly where we predicted. Admiral Rodriguez's voice came through clearly, encoded in patterns of quantum entanglement that were undetectable by conventional means. Excellent. All fleet elements report ready. Sleeping giant protocols are in place. We're just waiting for them to make that demonstration of force. They didn't have to wait long. As Earth's governments appeared to bicker and argue among themselves, the Confederation grew impatient. Zarkax ordered a demonstration strike on a military base in the Modav Desert, a facility that, according to their intelligence, housed Earth's most advanced aerospace research. The strike was precise and overwhelming. Confederation energy weapons turned the facility into molten glass within seconds. Zarkax waited for the panic and submission that always followed such demonstrations. Instead, deep within the Earth's oceans, massive structures began to move. What the Confederation had dismissed as deep-sea mining operations suddenly shed their disguises. Quantum fields shifted, revealing sleek warships powered by technology that should have been impossible for humanity to possess. In orbit, thousands of satellites simultaneously transformed, their crude exterior shells falling away to reveal advanced weapon platforms. The debris field from their apparent destruction coalesced into a complex defense grid, powered by microsingularities that the Confederation's sensors were only now beginning to detect. On the Eternal Dawn's bridge, alarms began screaming. "Commander," the tactical officer's voice cracked with disbelief. "We're detecting. This is impossible. Energy signatures are off the scale. Their entire solar system is." Zarkax stared in shock as the tactical display transformed. Where moments ago there had been a primitive civilization with barely functional space capabilities, now there was something else entirely, something that had been hiding in plain sight for decades. "This is General Diana Wright of the Earth Defense Force," a calm voice transmitted on all frequencies, using communication protocols that the Confederation thought were their most closely guarded secret. "We've been expecting you. In fact, we've been preparing for this moment for quite some time." As if to emphasize her words, a massive quantum wave rippled through space, temporarily disrupting the Confederation fleet's shield harmonics. A warning shot using technology that, according to all their intelligence, humanity shouldn't have for another 5 centuries. "You believed you were coming to subjugate a primitive species," Diana continued, her voice carrying a hint of satisfaction. "Instead, you've walked into a trap decades in the making. The Earth you thought you knew was an elaborate deception. The real Earth." She paused for effect. "Well, you're about to find out exactly what we're capable of." Zarkax watched in growing horror as his tactical display registered thousands of new contacts emerging from what should have been empty space. Humanity's real fleet had finally revealed itself, and it was nothing like the primitive vessels they had expected to face. The game of deception was over. Now the real battle would begin, and the Confederation was about to learn a harsh lesson about underestimating humanity's potential. Counter-strike. Chaos erupted across the Confederation fleet as humanity's true capabilities became apparent. Zarkax watched in disbelief as Earth's quantum field generators systematically disrupted his ship's shield harmonics. Weapons that should have been centuries beyond human development cut through the Confederation's supposedly superior defenses like paper. "All ships, battle formations," he commanded, but the ordered precision that had been the Confederation's hallmark for millennia quickly crumbled in the face of completely unexpected tactics. Human vessels didn't move like any ships they'd encountered before. Instead of the standard formation combat that had dominated galactic warfare for centuries, Earth's fleet operated in a fluid, almost organic pattern. Ships appeared to anticipate attacks before they happened, moving with a synchronization that seemed impossible. Dr. Chen's voice echoed through the quantum command network. "Quantum AI predictive matrices operating at full capacity. We're reading their tactical protocols faster than they can execute them." In the Antarctic Command Center, General Wright orchestrated humanity's response with cold precision. "Execute Pattern Sierra. Let's show them what happens when you spend 10,000 years without a real challenge to your military doctrine." Earth's fleet moved like a living organism, each vessel part of a greater whole. What appeared to be chaos to Confederation tactical officers was actually a carefully choreographed dance, guided by artificial intelligence systems that could process combat data faster than organic minds could comprehend. Impossible, Zarkak's tactical officer explained as another squadron of Confederation ships lost power, their quantum cores safely extracted by swarms of nanobots that had been disguised as debris. They're using our own technology against us, technology they shouldn't even understand. On the Quantum Command Network, Admiral Rodriguez's voice was calm. Phase 3 initiated, activating the Jupiter defense grid. The massive gas giant's atmosphere suddenly came alive with energy. What the Confederation had dismissed as natural storms revealed themselves to be massive power collection systems. The biggest fuel depot in the solar system had been hiding in plain sight, disguised as atmospheric turbulence. Massive energy beams lanced out from Jupiter's orbit, their power fed by decades of collected hydrogen fusion. The Confederation's rear guard scattered, their formation breaking as they faced weapons powered by the fundamental forces of a gas giant itself. In her lab, Dr. Chen activated the final phase of humanity's quantum defense system, initiating quantum entanglement field. Time to show them why you shouldn't let a primitive species study your communication protocols for 20 years. Across the Confederation fleet, ships suddenly lost contact with each other as their quantum communications were hijacked and redirected. Carefully crafted viruses, designed after years of studying Confederation technology, spread through their networks. Systems that had been impenetrable to every other species in the galaxy fell before human ingenuity. They're in complete disarray, Diana observed, watching as a mighty Confederation fleet broke into smaller, uncoordinated groups. Commence Phase 4. Show them our real weapons. What appeared to be a small moon near Mars suddenly shifted, its surface rippling as advanced metamaterials revealed their true nature. The Confederation had completely missed humanity's largest weapons platform, hidden literally in plain sight through technology that bent light and sensor readings around it. On the Eternal Dawn, Zarkax finally understood the true scope of their mistake. All ships, emergency retreat, returned to Confederation space immediately, but his orders came too late. Quantum fields emanating from Earth's hidden platforms had already blocked their escape routes. The entire Confederation fleet was trapped in a carefully prepared kill box, facing an enemy that had spent decades preparing specifically for this moment. This is General Wright to all Confederation vessels, her voice carried across all frequencies. Your faster-than-light capabilities have been neutralized. Your weapons are ineffective against our defenses. Your communications are under our control. She paused, letting the reality of their situation sink in. However, unlike you, we don't believe in forcing our will upon others. You have two options. The tactical display on the Eternal Dawn showed the true extent of their predicament. They were surrounded by weapons platforms that had been disguised as asteroids, moons, and space debris. Every escape route was covered. Every potential tactical response had been anticipated. Option 1, Wright continued, you can surrender immediately. We will treat your crews with respect and dignity, demonstrating the humanity that you believed us incapable of possessing. Zarkax's secondary hearts beat rapidly as he processed their situation. Everything they had believed about humanity had been wrong. Every assumption, every calculation, every assessment had played directly into their hands. Option 2, there was steel in Wright's voice now. You can resist. We will then be forced to demonstrate exactly why your species should have looked more carefully at Earth's history of warfare before attempting to subjugate us. In the Quantum Command Center, Diana watched as the Confederation fleet's formation continued to deteriorate. Their entire military doctrine was based on fighting enemies who followed the same basic tactical principles that had dominated galactic warfare for millennia. They had no protocols for dealing with an enemy that fought fundamentally differently. Dr. Chen's voice came through the command network. Their quantum cores are showing signs of stress. They're trying to force their way through our containment field. She paused, monitoring the data. They still don't understand what they're dealing with. Show them, Diana commanded. Limited demonstration only. Across the solar system, hundreds of quantum field generators activated simultaneously. Space itself seemed to ripple as humanity demonstrated technology that the Confederation had thought impossible for any species to develop independently. On the Eternal Dawn's bridge, Zarkax watched in horror as a small moon simply ceased to exist, transformed into energy by weapons that operated on principles his scientists barely understood. The demonstration lasted only seconds, but its message was clear. Humanity could have destroyed them at any moment. This is Supreme Commander Zarkax to all Confederation vessels. His voice carried the weight of defeat. Stand down all weapons. Prepare to be boarded. As Earth's true military forces moved to secure the Confederation fleet, Diana allowed herself a small smile. Send word to the Council. Tell them humanity is ready to negotiate, as equals this time. The greatest military force in the galaxy had just been defeated by a species they had dismissed as primitive. The balance of power was about to shift dramatically, and the galaxy would never be the same. The Council's folly. The grand chamber of the Galactic Council fell into stunned silence as the holographic display showed the Confederation fleet's surrender. The 7 most powerful species in known space watched in disbelief as their greatest military force was systematically dismantled by a civilization they had classified as barely space-capable. High Counselor Vixthor, their eldest and most respected member, broke the silence. How? The question echoed through the vast chamber. How did we miss this? Dr. Sarah Chen's hologram appeared before the Council, transmitted through quantum channels that had been secretly monitoring their communications for years. You saw exactly what we wanted you to see, Counselor. Your greatest weakness was your certainty in your own superiority. The Council Chamber's security protocols activated automatically at this unauthorized transmission, but found themselves unable to block the quantum-encrypted signal. Another demonstration of technology that, according to their understanding, humanity shouldn't possess. Impossible, Council member Krax declared, his crystalline form vibrating with agitation. Our surveillance network covered your entire solar system. Your technology was primitive, your military capabilities limited, your society chaotic and divided. Diana Wright's hologram joined Chen's, the 2 humans standing confidently before the most powerful beings in the galaxy. Tell me, Council member, Diana's voice carried a hint of amusement. In all your species' long history, have you ever fought a war of deception? Have you ever considered that chaos might be orchestrated, that weakness might be feigned, that division might be a mask for absolute unity of purpose? The Council members exchanged uncomfortable glances. Their civilizations had evolved beyond such concepts millennia ago. Warfare in the modern galaxy was conducted according to established protocols, with clear declarations and obvious power structures. Let me show you what you missed, Chen said, activating a series of holographic displays. Every failed experiment you observed was carefully staged. Every primitive satellite you scanned was a shell concealing advanced technology. Every piece of space debris you ignored was part of a vast defense network. The displays showed the true extent of humanity's deception. Massive military installations hidden beneath the oceans, quantum computers disguised as primitive data centers, weapons platforms concealed as natural formations on moons and asteroids. But our psychologists studied your species extensively, another council member protested. Your conflicts, your divisions, your emotional responses, all of it indicated a primitive species barely holding itself together. Diana smiled. You studied our media broadcasts, our public political debates, our apparent conflicts. Tell me, didn't you find it strange that a species supposedly so divided could maintain such consistent patterns of behavior? That our chaos never quite spiraled out of control. A performance, Vixthor realized, his ancient eyes widening. Your entire civilization was putting on a performance. For 20 years, Chen confirmed. Every piece of technology you detected was carefully designed to be just advanced enough to be believable, but not advanced enough to be threatening. Every conflict you observed was choreographed to reinforce your preconceptions. Even our scientific publications were crafted to show steady but slow progress. The Council Chamber's displays showed the true face of Earth's military capability. Ships that could manipulate quantum fields at will, AI systems that could predict and counter any standard tactical approach, weapons that could literally rewrite the laws of physics in a localized area. But why? Prax demanded. Why maintain such an elaborate deception? Why not simply demonstrate your power? Because, Diana explained, we studied your history. Every species that suddenly demonstrated advanced technology was immediately considered a threat. They were either subjugated or destroyed by overwhelming force. But a primitive species, she smiled. A primitive species could develop right under your nose, learning from your technology, understanding your weaknesses, preparing for the moment you would inevitably try to subjugate them. We are willing to negotiate, Shen added, her tone becoming more diplomatic. Earth has no interest in conquest or domination. We simply wish to ensure our independence and security. The council members conferred silently through their neural links, but they all knew they had no choice. Their most powerful military force had been defeated. Their most advanced technology had been not only matched but exceeded. Their most secure communications had been compromised. The terms of these negotiations, Vixthor said carefully, would be equal status, Diana stated firmly. Recognition of Earth's sovereignty and technological achievements, full membership in the Galactic Council, and most importantly, a complete re-examination of how the Council approaches emerging civilizations. You realize this will completely upset the balance of power in the galaxy, Crax protested. Centuries of established protocols and hierarchies will need to change, Shen finished. Because if humanity could achieve this level of technological advancement in secret, how many other primitive species might be doing the same? How many others looked at your pattern of subjugation and decided to wait, to prepare, to deceive? The implications sent shockwaves through the Council. Everything they had believed about their place in the galaxy, about their understanding of other species, about their own superiority, all of it had to be reevaluated. We accept these preliminary terms, Vixthor announced, knowing they had no real choice. The Council will convene a formal session to begin negotiations. As the human holograms faded, the Council members sat in stunned silence, contemplating how thoroughly they had been outmaneuvered by a species they had dismissed as primitive. The galaxy's power structure had been irreversibly changed, and it had happened without a single shot being fired in anger. The age of Confederation dominance was over. The era of human innovation had begun. Diplomatic revolution. 6 months after humanity's revelation, the Galactic Council's headquarters on Centaurid Prime hosted an unprecedented gathering. Representatives from 1,000 worlds filled the massive amphitheater, their attention focused on the human delegation standing calmly at the center. Dr. Sarah Chen, now Earth's chief ambassador, faced the assembled species with quiet confidence. Behind her, holographic displays showed the ongoing transformation of galactic society, changes that had begun the moment humanity revealed its true capabilities. The old model of galactic civilization is broken, she began, her words translated simultaneously into hundreds of languages. It was built on the assumption that technological advancement follows a predictable linear path. That assumption has cost the Confederation dearly. In orbit above, the former Confederation flagship Eternal Dawn, now recommissioned as a joint research vessel, served as a pointed reminder of how dramatically things had changed. Its quantum cores had been completely redesigned using human principles, its capabilities enhanced beyond what its original builders had thought possible. Humanity proposes a new framework for galactic cooperation, Chen continued. One based not on technological superiority or military might, but on innovation, diversity, and mutual respect. Admiral Rodriguez, standing beside her, activated a series of detailed holograms. Our first proposal, the establishment of the Galactic Innovation Exchange. Every species, regardless of their current technological level, will have the opportunity to contribute their unique perspectives and approaches. The assembled delegates murmured as they saw the implications. Humanity wasn't just claiming a seat at the table, they were completely redesigning the table itself. In the highest tier of the amphitheater, Vix though watched with a mixture of concern and fascination. They're dismantling 10,000 years of established order, he whispered to his aide. No, General Wright corrected, appearing silently beside him, another demonstration of human technology that still unsettled the older species. We're evolving it into something stronger. The displays showed practical examples. A supposedly primitive agricultural world had developed unique biotechnology that, when combined with advanced engineering, produced revolutionary results. A pre-spaceflight civilization had theoretical models that, when properly applied, revolutionized quantum field theory. The greatest waste in our galaxy, Chen declared, has been the systematic suppression of alternative development paths. Every species approaches problems differently. Every civilization finds unique solutions. By forcing all technological development to follow the Confederation model, we've been stifling innovation across the galaxy. The evidence was undeniable. In the 6 months since humanity's emergence, their collaborative approach had already produced advances that centuries of Confederation research had failed to achieve. But the security implications, a delegate from a militant species protested, are precisely why this is necessary, Rodriguez countered. The old model created an arms race in hiding. How many other civilizations are out there right now, concealing their true capabilities, waiting for the moment they're threatened? How many potential allies are we turning into hidden enemies? The amphitheater erupted in discussion as species that had been relegated to lower tiers of galactic society saw the opportunity Chen was offering. Humanity wasn't just claiming power for itself, it was fundamentally restructuring how power worked in galactic civilization. In a secure chamber beneath the amphitheater, Dr. Chen met with representatives from 30 species that had, like humanity, hidden significant technological advances from the Confederation. Their emergence over the past 6 months had confirmed humanity's suspicions. They hadn't been the only ones playing a long game. The deception age is over, she told them. Now we build something new, something better. On Earth, the transformation was equally dramatic. The carefully maintained facade of primitive chaos had been replaced by the reality of a highly organized, incredibly advanced civilization. Cities that had appeared to be haphazard sprawls revealed themselves as marvels of engineering and planning. Technology that had been hidden for decades emerged to transform daily life. But perhaps most significantly, humanity's example had sparked a revolution in how galactic civilization viewed development itself. Species that had been dismissed as primitive were being reevaluated. Civilizations that hadn't followed the standard development path were being studied rather than subjugated. The question, Chen addressed the gathered delegates, is not whether a species has achieved a specific level of technology. The question is what unique perspective they bring to our collective knowledge. As she spoke, news arrived from a dozen worlds that had been considered pre-industrial. Once shown respect rather than condescension, they had revealed advances in various fields that defied conventional understanding. The galaxy was discovering that technological progress wasn't a single path, but a vast network of possibilities. We propose, she concluded, the formation of the Galactic Cooperative, replacing the old council. Every species, regardless of their development stage, will have a voice. Every civilization will be valued for their unique contributions, not their military might or technological conformity. The vote that followed wasn't even close. Centuries of rigid hierarchy crumbled before the promise of genuine cooperation. Species that had been enemies found common ground in shared innovation. Civilizations that had hidden their advances began sharing their discoveries. As the new era dawned, Vix Thor approached Chen privately. "You didn't just outmaneuver us militarily," he admitted. "You've completely transformed how we understand civilization itself." Chen smiled. "That was always the goal. Humanity didn't want to rule the galaxy. We wanted to change how the galaxy ruled itself." The revolution wasn't just diplomatic, it was philosophical. The age of enforced conformity was over. The era of collaborative innovation had begun. New Dawn. 1 year after humanity's emergence, the Sol System hosted the first Galactic Innovation Summit. The event symbolized everything that had changed in galactic society. Where once stood rigid hierarchies and enforced conformity, now flourished a tapestry of diverse approaches to science, technology, and civilization itself. The massive space station Unity, constructed in Earth orbit using a fusion of technologies from 50 different species, served as the perfect venue. Its very architecture challenged conventional design, incorporating seemingly contradictory approaches that somehow worked in harmony, much like the new galactic society itself. Dr. Sarah Chen stood at the observation deck, watching ships arrive from across the galaxy. Each vessel represented a different path of technological evolution, a unique approach to solving the fundamental challenges of space travel. The diversity was breathtaking, quite a change from hiding our capabilities, isn't it? Admiral Rodriguez joined her, watching as a ship from what had once been classified as a pre-industrial world demonstrated its unique approach to gravity manipulation. Technology developed through a completely different understanding of physics than the Confederation had taught. "We didn't just change the galaxy's power structure," Chen replied. "We changed its soul." Below them, Earth had transformed. The carefully maintained facade of chaos and primitive technology had given way to the reality of human innovation. Cities now openly displayed their advanced architecture, vehicles moved through quantum tunnels that bent space-time, and the once hidden achievements of human science reshaped daily life. But the greatest transformation wasn't on Earth, it was in how the galaxy itself functioned. In the station's main amphitheater, General Wright opened the summit's first session. The assembled delegates represented not just the formerly powerful species, but civilizations at every stage of development. Each had something unique to contribute. "A year ago," Wright began, "we stood before the Galactic Council and proposed a new way forward. Today, we see the results of that vision." The holographic displays showed the achievements of the past year. Breakthroughs in science, medicine, and technology that dwarfed centuries of previous advancement. But more importantly, they showed how these achievements had been reached through collaboration between species that would never have worked together under the old system. "The Confederation's greatest mistake," she continued, "wasn't in underestimating humanity. It was in underestimating the potential of diversity itself." A representative from what had been considered a primitive agricultural world took the stage. Their civilization had never developed traditional space travel, but their unique understanding of biological systems had revolutionized environmental engineering across the galaxy. Under the old system, they would have been dismissed as backward. Now they were leading experts in their field. "The age of single-path development is over," the representative declared. "The future belongs to those who can learn from all paths." In orbit above Earth, the former Confederation fleet, now transformed into research vessels, served as a powerful symbol of change. Ships that had once enforced conformity now explored the vast diversity of technological approaches developed by species who had hidden their true capabilities. Dr. Chen took the stage for the summit's keynote address. "1 year ago, humanity revealed that we had hidden our true capabilities from the galaxy. We weren't alone. Dozens of species had done the same, each developing along their own unique path, each finding solutions that the Confederation's rigid thinking had overlooked." The displays showed the explosion of innovation that had followed. Quantum physics rewritten by civilizations that approached space-time differently. Medical breakthroughs from species that had developed along biological rather than mechanical paths. Energy systems that defied conventional understanding but worked perfectly. But our greatest achievement wasn't technical, Chen continued. It was philosophical. We proved that there is no single right path to advancement, no correct way to develop, no universal sequence of technological achievement. In the highest tier of the amphitheater, former High Counselor Vix Thor watched with a mixture of awe and humility. The galaxy he had helped rule for centuries was gone, replaced by something far more vibrant and dynamic. The future we envision, Chen declared, is one where every civilization contributes its unique perspective, where innovation comes not from following a prescribed path, but from exploring all possible paths, where strength lies not in conformity, but in diversity. The summit marked more than just a gathering of species, it marked the birth of a new age. The rigid hierarchies of the past had given way to a collaborative network of civilizations, each contributing their unique approaches and insights. Humanity's greatest victory hadn't been in outsmarting the Confederation. It had been in showing the galaxy a better way forward. The age of enforced order was over. The era of infinite possibility had begun. As the summit continued, ships arrived from newly contacted civilizations, each bringing their own unique approaches and innovations. The galaxy was learning that true advancement didn't come from forcing everyone to follow the same path. It came from exploring all paths simultaneously. In her private quarters later that evening, Chen reviewed the day's proceedings with her colleagues. "We did it," Rodriguez said quietly. "We actually did it." "No," Chen corrected him, watching as another ship arrived, its design challenging everything they thought they knew about space travel. "We're just beginning. The real question isn't what we've achieved, it's what we'll achieve next." The galaxy had been transformed not by force, not by conquest, but by the simple realization that diversity wasn't just acceptable, it was essential. Humanity's greatest contribution hadn't been its hidden technology or military capability. It had been the idea that every path forward was valid, that every approach deserved consideration. That true strength lay not in uniformity, but in the vast tapestry of different perspectives working together. As the first day of the summit ended, the Unity Station's observation deck offered a view of Earth below and the endless stars above. In that view lay the promise of the future, not a future of rigid order and enforced conformity, but one of endless possibility and infinite diversity. The deception was over. The masks were off, and the galaxy was better for it.